There's this constant ringing in your ear, are you enough? When a group of women line up to buy a ticket to come and see me and to hear what I had to say, and they're all excited just to hang out with each other, and in those few moments, for a brief moment in time, I'm enough. And then the front door of my house shuts and I'm alone. Am I enough for a man to think I'm pretty? Am I enough to make it through this day? Am I enough?
Our dear friend, Christian comedian Shonda Pierce's husband of 31 years, David Pierce, died following emergency brain surgery on Tuesday night.
Would you go steady with me?
I just wanted to know where I stood. My father would literally be in the closet floor, curled up in a fetal position with a handgun, gonna kill himself, weeping and wailing. And we would be in the other room playing Monopoly.
It's the top certified female solo comedian in history.
I had a manager, and I remember him saying, your kids will bounce back, and he was dead wrong.
It was a lonely feeling. For me, I began to drink.
And our daughter didn't just grow up and move away. She walked out and chose not to have us active in her life.
I thought, I am probably killing myself is what I thought. And I thought, if I keep doing what I'm doing, I'm probably gonna die from this.
I don't come up here as much since Mom's been gone. It's just too hard. Because it really does accentuate that I am alone. I don't want to die alone. I don't like it, and I don't have to like it. I have to survive it. He had just told me he decided he can't stop drinking.
He collapsed in the woods and had a massive stroke.
He had blood clots in both legs and both lungs and in his brain.
Just couldn't save him.
My relationship with Shonda, she's kind of adopted us.
I'm the fill-in grandma. It's that Nana's girl.
She doesn't get to see her own grandchildren, and I think that breaks her heart.
Now, all of a sudden, he has really given me desires in my heart that only he knew about. I needed that. I needed him to do that.
But y'all get up on your feet and get even louder for Shonda Pierce!
I'm so excited to be here. I'm really just excited that I'm breathing again, that I'm moving forward, that I'm pressing on. I don't know if anybody's heard, but I am now 2 years into being a widow. Doesn't that just sound awful? It's what they call spiders and old women. I can't stand it. I never wanted to be in the club, but I just thought I'd get it over with right up front that that's kind of where I am. And people say weird stuff to you when they find out that you've lost your husband, and when you're a widow, they'll go like, oh, I'm so sorry to hear you lost your husband, which I think sounds very irresponsible. it's not like I laid him down at Walmart, forgot where I put him. You know, you lose your keys, you lose your purse, you lose your mind, but you don't lose your husband. Good Lord, like I went shopping at the mall and set him down. When the sale is over at JCPenney's, I'll go pick him up. I lost him again not long ago. We were in the middle of building a house. You know, we were all excited. We had this whole little spot on our farm. We just decided, you know, we should plant him on bury him. See, I'm not even been widowed long enough to have the right words. We should bury him, lay him to rest. Which I hate that too, because if he's resting, I'm gonna be ticked off. How come he gets a nap and I don't? So, you know, so I thought we should bury him where we had planned to build a house. That's the perfect place on the farm. The farm's called the Funny Farm, so I love that it's kind of the last word that now I can tell people my husband's at the Funny Farm. And so we decided to bury him there. And so we had the footers all dug up and all that and all the stuff, just we forget the plants and we put him there and it's very pretty, it's very sweet. And so then they came out to clear the little area better and put grass seed and get the grass to grow. And while they were out there, they moved that little teeny tiny temporary marker. Yeah. So I just walked out there and went, oh shoot. He's kind of to the left of that tree right there, and he's just in this general area here. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I could just stand here and wait till Jesus comes, see where he pops up. Maybe like little whack-a-mole content. I told you not to leave. It's just sick. And y'all are laughing. Stop laughing. So then I had to call the funeral home. How do you call the funeral home and you know, and say, I lost my husband again. I didn't want them to charge me twice, for heaven's sake. They sent 2 men out there with the metal detectors trying to find my man in the ground. I should have put more jewelry on him when I buried him, I guess. There's like beep, beep. Nothing was beeping. It was just awful. So nothing worked. I did find 2 cannonballs and a hubcap to a Ford Pinto. And then I discovered, you know, I did not know this, but evidently there had been a civil war on my land, and they shot a cannon out of the back of a Ford Pinto. And so then I said, now what do we do? Because I'd like to know exactly kind of where he is would be nice. And so the man said, well, I've got another idea. So he had these men come and shot these big steel rods down in the ground until they would poke and find something. Then they were like, how tall of a man was he? And I'm like, last I saw he was in a box. I have no idea. Then they were like, oh, I think we got him here. We got him. Well, I hope so. I hope it's nobody else up there. I called the neighbors to see if they're missing anybody, but so we figured that's him. And then, so I got the permanent marker, and it's very pretty, and it's very, very nice. And we set it there where we think that's his head. It could be his feet, and what does it really matter? But so there set the big thing, and it's got Pierce on there because that's our name. And there's a nice picture of him fly fishing. It's really pretty. And then it's his name and his birthday and the day he passed, July 22nd. And then it's my name and my birthday on this side and a blank, like I have no hope at all. I don't know if you've ever seen your name on a tombstone, but it's kind of depressing. I just sit there now and wait. It's just weird. And now when my son gets mad at me, he'll get a chisel and hammer and says, I'm going to get started if you don't mind.
Both my parents have passed. And
It's so hard, isn't it? You feel like an orphan. I know.
It's such an encouragement to me.
You hang in there. Look, you got great support here. Absolutely.
We love you.
But I'm going to choke up when I say this. I have never viewed you all as it's y'all and me. To me, there is no separation up here.
I'm a widow too, honey.
Oh,
I sympathize with you. I really
I'm
do.
so glad you were here.
You look absolutely beautiful tonight.
Thank you very
I'm
much.
in the process of losing my husband to ALS.
There comes a time in your grief when you enter that stage where you feel a little relief.
One man saying, amen. Look, you're not even supposed to be here. Grizzly Adams, when you going? Yeah, look, he looks like one of the Duck Dynasty people. Isn't that precious? Oh, my stars, you need a pair of scissors. So I love it when there's like one loudmouth man in the house.
What are you doing at a Shonda Pierce concert?
The same thing every other man is, drugged here by his wife. Shonda's hilarious. I love it. She speaks her mind, just like I do. Don't ask unless you want to know.
I think I've always been appreciative of having an audience. I have focused on the wrong things sometimes for that audience. You know, there have been times in my life it was about the numbers and it was about the climb and it was about the success of it, and that can naturally just make you lose focus on the message of it all. I feel so honored when a group of women buy tickets and I open my mouth and stuff just comes out, you know, and I have a wonderful time and it's so great, and I get back on the bus and it's great, and I wish that was enough to be life. But that's not life.
Shonda, me and my baby say thank you.
It's a great job, but it's not who I am. It's what I do. When I walk in the front door of my house and I shut the door, that's who I am. And I have to remember that.
Thank you, Shonda from Two Sisters. Thank you.
No one but another widow knows really what it's like to go home every night, to crawl in the bed alone every night, to wake up alone every morning, you know, to motivate yourself.
I don't know if any other widows are here. How many widows in the room tonight? There are just so many different ages and groups. It's just, I'm so grateful to meet you. I'm so glad that you're here.
I remember that Shonda lost her husband almost the same time my husband passed away. And Karen was 2 years prior to that. So I thought we needed to come and see what she had to say.
Yeah. So we're having a widow date.
Yes, a widow date.
Because I'm here with my sister. She lost her husband 6 months ago to cancer. My son was killed in a car wreck with his fiance 7 days later. I don't know how people go through life without faith. I really don't. And without knowing Jesus, I know my son is in heaven. You know, I have days just like everybody else. I know Shonda has those days too. You know, you feel like, Lord, where are you? You know, I'm having one of my lowest days. Where are you? And, you know, you just go to Scripture. And I feel like coming here tonight, that's what Shonda's going to do for me. She's going to give me that encouragement that I need. And I'll hear something out of her with her loss to be able to minister to my sister.
When I read, have you taken care of the widows and the orphans? When he made that charge to the church, I never dreamed I would be in that club, but he knew it would be such a devastating thing that it would take the entire body of Christ to help a woman heal that broken heart. And if I may be perfectly honest, we don't do a very good job. Maybe a week or two will go by and we'll remember she lost her husband. Maybe her first birthday shows up and somebody in Sunday school might go, oh, that's right. I'm so sorry your husband's not here to celebrate with you. I just wanted to tell you widows how much I love you, and that you should go home tonight and make a list. That you need your grass cut and like what you want for your birthday, and the car needs servicing, you need an oil change, and then take that to Sunday school and just make copies of it and pass it around at church. And then I'm gonna put my online dating profile on the back of it, just in case.
Thank you, Shonda. Appreciate you.
Now, all of a sudden, the bus has to go home. And I face that silent house again and that quiet time. I have to go home and embrace what is not happily ever after anymore. There was a time in my life that would terrify me. But for the first time in my walk with the Lord, I completely trust where He has me. And I'm not liking it all that much, to tell you the truth, and I have told the Lord about it. I said, if you can part the Red Sea, you can drop a man on my porch. That's how it's...
I had a date. I cried all the way there. I cried all the way back. And it was quite evident that I wasn't ready. And it was disastrous. You know, my hat's off to you women who have been single for quite some time and you have navigated these waters. I have not. I am 2 years widowed, and I am just now kind of getting used to thinking about maybe gonna sorta maybe have a date, I don't know. So I finally went out on a date, and I cried the whole way there. I cried the whole way home, and my pastor said, "Did you cry at the dinner table? Because that can mess a man up." I said, "Well, no, but I got up and went to the bathroom and cried several times during the meal and then came back, and so now he thinks I've got some kind of bladder infection." I think that's worse. Welcome to Shonda. We're gonna have you looking hot. We're having a blast. These are my friends I began to cling to when recovering from widowhood.
Go for it.
I had just moved to Ashland City, Tennessee when my big sister Charlotta was 20 and she was killed in a car accident. And then about 18 or 19 months later or so, my little sister Sherilyn, who I went to school with, was a freshman in high school, and she suddenly found out she had leukemia, and 21 days later she died. So because of that happening, the interesting thing for me is I have struggled making connection with girls. As I got older, I used to be almost sad to stand in a Hallmark store to buy a card, because all you would see was happy birthday sister, you know, Merry Christmas sister. I used to stand there and grieve that one little thing of wishing so badly I could just buy a card, you know, that says, I miss you, sister, or I'm proud of you, sister. You know, it's like the devil used that thing to trigger such pain in my life. And it was probably many, many years, you know, later, and especially during the grief of my husband, that spirit of sisterhood, I saw what it looked like for the first time. And that came because of you guys.
I'm Mary Beth LeBrier, and I met Shonda in 1975 when we were two skinny kids in a gym class at Cheatham County High School. We've remained close from the time we graduated high school until today. I would consider her probably one of my closest friends, and I feel like she would consider me one of her closest friends.
I was fortunate enough to be in her wedding and wear that ugly yellow taffeta dress that I will never, ever let her forget.
There's David and Mary Beth. Mary Beth, homecoming queen. This was all the superlatives. I know, it's so funny. Let's see, this one's Oklahoma. There's me and David when I was in Oklahoma.
No.
Oh no. Mary Beth, their cheerleading outfit.
My name is Mary Pyron, and I'm from Ashland City. I met Shonda when she moved here when we were in high school.
My first real memory of Shonda, of course, she came to school and she was in class and everything, but the talent shows that she participated in. This skinny little bird leg, big glass came out with this huge personality and voice, and she basically dominated our talent shows when we were in high school. She was great even back then.
And then there's Patrice. You know, now Patrice you have to love because she married our class president in high school, and we love her for it because none of us would.
Everybody knew Shonda. You would hear her out in the hall, if you can believe that.
There's Patrice.
That's great.
Oh, the drum majorette, Patrice. That one? Good memories. There's David. I still have that jacket somewhere. Look how skinny.
Oh my gosh, look at those shorts. I wonder if those come in a men's.
My first memories of Shonda, of course, were when she was in high school and had lost both sisters. And I think that puts a lot of pressure on somebody. Those were some big shoes to fill, especially in the time frame that she lost two very, very important family members. So I think there was some pressure even there to excel and to push and to be the end-all be-all to both mom and dad. Then the parents divorcing, now she's got to take care of her mother. She's got to be everything to her mother. I would feel like I had to be the unit that binds and keeps that mother going. I've got to make everything right in that woman's life because I love her so much.
My mother lived her life just worried that the Lord was going to strike her any minute, just worried she's going to step out of line, so frightened of what the Lord thought and what the church people. She lived for what the church people thought. I just could not measure up, it seems like,
to the God that she knew and the way that my grandmother approached God. I used to say my mother put the word fun in dysfunction. Well, my grandmother put the word fun in funeral because it was time, you know. She was 98 when she died. She was 98. I have never known a more bitter Christian in my life. Have you known somebody with their hair piled up? They never cut their hair. She never wore a stitch of makeup. Now, nothing wrong with that. I know people that serve the Lord that way, and they have the Shekinah glory that just shines on their face. My grandma didn't glow about nothing. She never did cut that hair. She wore that little church dress all the time. You know, even working in the garden, she'd wear her church dress. So me and some cousins, just before they shut the lid, we put some blue jeans on her because we thought that'd be so funny. We just thought it would be hilarious when she got to heaven to be like, Lord, these are not mine, Lord. I did not put these on me. I can tell you who did. She's going to hell in a handbasket.
Shonda never told me about the struggles with her dad. She always put on a good face. She was always joking around. So nobody at school really knew what was going on at home. I found out the issues with her dad when we were seniors in high school. She was sharing that her home was not a happy home.
I remember one day we were over there and we were doing something, and I was downstairs with your dad in his little cubby hole where he typed the bulletins because he had asked me to type those for him. And he said, no, come sit on my lap and let me show you how I want it. And I'm thinking.
And you're 17.
And I'm thinking, that's not right. I never said anything, but I'm thinking, no, my dad would never want me to
sit on his lap.
Shonda, did you know about that?
Yeah.
Were you embarrassed?
Oh, yeah. Really embarrassed, yeah. Because anytime that your secret or behavior, you know, that's just really not normal, seeps out, you're embarrassed. This story of my life is putting on that front. And I learned that as a kid, as a preacher's kid, or you just don't let anybody know what's really going on. And we did that well. I did it very well, still do it very well, until it gets so huge and so big you can't put on the front anymore.
The connection that I see with her being loud and boisterous and outgoing is maybe she was hiding from herself and not wanting anybody to know what she was going through while we were there together. I have seen her hide, and I have seen her come out of hiding. And to come out of hiding, it took a lot of us to get her there.
Mary Beth and I used to laugh because we would skip chemistry class and hide. We would hide in the locker. We could actually sit in the locker, pull our feet in, and shut the door.
We still could if they
made
the lockers bigger. They could just make them bigger.
Oh, absolutely. There's been times when she thought she was on stage when she wasn't. And oh yeah, we reel her back in real quick because it's us. She doesn't have to put on a show for us.
There's a lot of ways about me that I don't like that I get straight from the gene pool. And some of them I can medicate, and some of them I just am stuck with. Sometimes we put that loved one up on a pedestal. And I can remember as a teenage girl when my sisters died, going, now they're saints, and I'll never measure up. I can't compete with an angel, So let's be a little realistic. Charlotte and Sherilyn did have their, faults here and there. So, but it's hard to admit that about somebody who's deceased, We have to just be on the same one. Everybody find the one that says list number 5. B, go. In the one-on-one, private relationships, I've struggled with feeling like they get me.
Y'all, this is harder than I thought.
I've always felt like nobody got me. I always felt like the weirdo, Isn't that funny?
What do you got? I got Bill. I got Brian. Baron. Bernard. Bratwurst. I got nothing.
I am learning that audience is not my intimate relationships. And I am learning to let my intimate relationships know me like I've allowed a vast audience to know me. Now, isn't that the strangest thing?
1, 2, 3, 4. I got 4. I got 5. So 8. I got 5. 8. Oh, school teacher, no fair.
To be honest, in this new
reality of mine of you begin to think about what you look like, and is your breath stinky, and what if you're going to meet somebody, will you ever be pretty enough? That's one nice thing about aging with your husband, because his eyesight gets bad, you get fat, it doesn't matter. Now it's a whole new game, and that feeling of rejection, I hate that feeling. Sometimes it's a rejecting that we had many, many years ago that we don't even know that it has clouded how we feel about ourselves.
I think the happy face wore her out. She didn't want us to know she was depressed. She would cry, and we would just listen.
One of the funny rules, I will say, was no mixed bathing, which I thought meant you can't take a bath with your cousin. I later on realized that you can't go swimming with the opposite sex because you'll get pregnant. Do you know how long you have to stand at the edge of the ocean waiting for every man to get out of the Atlantic? And it's probably a good thing that we didn't, because the culottes would have killed us anyway. Anybody else have to wear the culottes? We had more clothes on at the beach than we did on Sunday morning. That much material would have sucked you down to the bottom of the ocean. When I was a little kid, I used to tell this story all the time. I was standing in front of the water fountain getting a drink of water, and two sweet saints of the church slipped up behind me and started patting me on the back of the head. Water started going up my nose. And they whispered to each other, said, "This here's one of our little preacher's daughters. She's not very pretty." I turned around and said, "No, but I'm real SMART." Now, here's the truth behind the comedy. The truth is, that really did happen. Two little old ladies did whisper behind me, but when I said, "No, but I'm really SMART," I wrote that part. That's called the punchline. That really didn't happen. The truth of the matter is, as a little skinny, knobby-headed kid with white hair, I skipped over to my mother real quick and said, "Those two ladies said I'm not very pretty. Do you think I'm pretty, Mama?" That stuff hangs with you. There's this constant ringing in your ear, are you enough? Was I enough of a parent? I wasn't enough parent, so I messed up somewhere, because if I was enough of a parent, my daughter would want me in her life, and so there's this constant worry, are you enough? I didn't feel like I was enough even for my own father. I didn't feel like I could measure up, even sometimes to my sweet mom and her very legalistic ways sometimes. You're just never good enough. I wanted to be enough that my husband would want to be sober for me. Do I not exude the type of person that you would want to do that for? Is there something wrong with me? When we were struggling and he was struggling with alcohol, I would go, am I enough to stay sober for? Do you want to change for me? Am I enough? And that's when you realize, wait a minute, you got to take yourself out of that. That was his thing, his journey, his struggle. And I could not fix it. I couldn't be good enough for him to want to stay sober. In other words, it was nothing to do with me. We have reached the grand old joyful moments of menopause. Now, that will make you need Jesus. God help us. It is just terrible. You sweat, you don't sleep. See, if we're in menopause, we don't sleep, and that's why he's over there. And you got to love Jesus, because you will find that pillow in your hand. That's not how he passed, ma'am. I'm just saying. She's looking over there like, I think she killed him. I think that's... I had nothing to do with it. I really didn't. But, but don't be judging. Don't be judging. You know, if you cough or sneeze in the night, it's over. You got to get up and change your pajamas.
Last night we were watching a movie. There's a bunch of girls sitting around watching a movie, and she's on her phone playing Candy Crush. And I kicked her. She was in the floor. And I kicked her, and I said, "Get with us. We're here for you, or we're here with you. Join in." I'm not sure why she just decides to go into her own little world in a room full of people. She just kind of escapes with that. And not because that she's not liking the people that she's with or not liking the movie that she's watching. I think really it's a habit.
I have this beautiful relationship with a room full of girls, and we're just having a wonderful time, and I feel good about who I am. I feel strong as a woman, and I got the right things to say, and it's awesome. I want to feel like that in my private life. If you walked into the little Italian restaurant and I'm sitting in the corner eating, most often we're going to have the fun conversation, and you sit down at my table and we'll goof off and we'll have fun. So 90% of the time that's true. What you see is what you get. On the inside of who I am, it's not 90%. Sometimes on the stage with all the makeup and the stage lights, that's not the real you. When I wake up in the morning, there ain't no spotlight in my room and nobody hands me a microphone. You know, so you have to really separate what is the real world, if that makes sense.
When she first came to school with us, she was very shy, believe it or not, for about a week. And then she started blossoming. And yes, she's always been loud. She was loud when she was singing. She was loud when she was walking down the hall. She was loud at my house when my mother and dad were sleeping in the next room and we were giggling and laughing. And I mean, my mother would come in the door going, "Shonda, you have to be quiet. We have to go to sleep." So, and it would work for a few minutes. And my mother's back in, "Shonda, you have to be quiet. You have to go back to sleep." I've known her for 40 years and that didn't change. Because you can't help but like her, you know, even if she is loud.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Shonda Pierce.
I had a tour called Comic Belief, which was a ripoff, obviously, of Comic Relief. And so I was trying to find some Christian comedians that could go on the road with me, and we found a few, and Shonda was one of them. She knew how to relate to an audience, communicate, and she made me laugh. Now, she did also annoy me at times because she'd get on the bus and she'd still be cracking jokes.
I heard a rumor that you went out with Mark Lowry.
Okay, yes, that's the one I
How did that
cried.
go?
I cried and cried and cried. Mark Lowry is one of my dearest friends in the world, but I wouldn't wish that on any woman. Two of us in the same house that talk for a living, no, we'd kill each other.
And her voice is almost like a drill that goes right between here. And I told her, I said, "Your incessant regurgitation of unnecessary verbiage is wearing me out. Quit auditioning, you've already got the job." And then she kind of settled into it and used her inside voice, which I adore. I love the inside voice. And on stage, that other voice is fantastic. But all those things come together to make one very powerful messenger.
Mark made a joke, and he said, "She's loud."
Of course he did.
And you said something in the first movie. You said if you could sing or yell loud enough, somebody would notice you.
Yeah, that's what middle children do. Two things at play. Maybe there is some psychological thing to it. Maybe you're reading too much into it. I get enthusiastic. There's just different personalities for different people, but I do when I get in a room, especially of people that I love, and especially when my girlfriends are all together. Man, we just get You know, we get to going. We get our pajamas and we have a pajama party, and you can hear me above everybody. I'm here. Hello.
Shonda has always been heard. I wouldn't say it's loud. She has a big personality. Some people might interpret that as loud, but she just has a big, lively, full of life personality.
I beg your pardon.
This is from us.
I make a lot of money with this loudy voice.
It's worked well for her, especially in her career.
I have these well-meaning girlfriends, Lord love them. My girlfriends came over and spent the night, and here's what they did when I got up the next morning. Got up, my laptop is sitting on the kitchen table with a Post-it note that said, "We love you," and a password and a username. And my credit card laying out. They stole my money to do this. And then they created me a profile. Yes, an online dating profile. Now, let me just say this in case you ever do read it. I ain't never played racquetball a day in my life. My exercise is getting up from the couch, going to the refrigerator, and going back to the couch. That's one. I do know yoga. The only yoga I know is the downward dog that poops in my front yard. They're trying to make me sound all desirable. You know, it's just so stinking funny. They signed me up for Christian Mingle, Match.com, plenty of fish in the sea, fishing, something about fish. I like to fish. They thought that would really fit me. And our time, which really means there's little time left at all. By the looks of the picture, the party's been over a long time ago. These guys are on borrowed time. That's what the name of it should be. Some man even had his picture taken with this oxygen tube on. And the pictures that they put on there, oh dear Lord in heaven above. You men, this is what cracks me up. They're always sitting on a Harley and their beer gut hanging over the gas tank. 2 teeth hanging out of their head, and they haven't brushed those in 10 years. Hair coming up out of their shirt. Have you seen where the hair falls out of their shirt and it gets matted in their gold chains? That is... I'm gonna write on mine. If I have to wax, so should you. They got no hair here, and all the little wave is down there. They're hanging on to the last bit of hope they've got. Or it's either that or they're standing in a bathroom taking a picture of themselves. They don't even know how to take a selfie. They just stand in the bathroom and take a picture. If you blow the picture up behind them, the toilet's filthy. I'm just saying, you want me to wink at that, you better shut that lid and move out of your mama's house. Here's what I decided, because I have a very, very sweet friend that told me this, and this is the best advice I'd ever heard. Don't be a nurse or a purse. So I'm looking for a doctor. And then there's dating. Cricket, cricket, cricket. You know, my girlfriend signed me up for online dating, and this is the truth. On 3 different online dating sites. Nothing. I got nothing. Somebody asked me today, how's your love life? It's awesome. I love my job. I love my son. I love the farm. I love my house. That's the love life. I got maybe a couple of emails of, you know, I know who you are. Did I see you in a Christmas movie? Or, you know, I get that, but I got nothing. I hope my life isn't intimidating to people, but I've had 1 or 2 nice dates, and that's it. I was blessed with a great man for 31 years. And yes, we had our struggles like any other marriage, especially a marriage that's a wife that travels all the time and a husband who's struggling with addiction. We had our struggles, but we had 31 years that were pretty stinking awesome. I feel like that was my turn. That was my chance and my moment, and I don't know that will ever come again. And to tell you the truth, I'm at the place in my life, I'm not sure I deserve that. This is the quick way of fixing your hair. You know, that's the hardest part, is for the first time you become very self-aware that you are you're single and you're out there. And now it's like you can't just go down to your favorite pizza place and grab a pizza. Now you gotta put your lipstick on, put your hair up, look good. You just never know who's gonna be hungry at the same time. I watched a shampoo commercial the other day that embarrassed me to death. I bought a whole case of that stuff. Desperate times, girls. I'd like to have my money back, though, I will say. None of that happened to me.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
I have been invited to entertain at one of the inaugural balls. So that's very, very exciting. I have to wear a ball gown, which I've never had a ball gown in my life. So I have to go find a fancy dress. Now, which can also be the most depressing thing that a woman ever has to do is go try on a bathing suit or a formal gown. And just think, a little kid from Cheatham County, Tennessee, is going to be performing at the inaugural ball. I get in for free.
I did get all dressed up for this, and it took 3 fairy godmothers to zip this dress.
So I'm going to give this to Johnny Jones, a pin and this scarf. Look at this. An official invite to the inaugural ball that I was at.
I really did give up my Spanx in Afghanistan. I know it's a strange place to give up Spanx, but I have a rash the government is still trying to identify.
This was sitting on the table at the ball. Look how you open it, and it's got all that we had to eat, and my name spelled correctly, which never happens.
Because I went on a USO trip, and that was wonderful. And so I went, and I went in this room, and this girl, she just rolls her eyes. She goes, "Oh, you're our comedian this year, and you're a born-again Christian? How does that work?" And I said, very carefully, because my manager has lightning. And so I would shut it in Jesus' name. And so
then I have official invite to the inauguration itself. This is the inauguration ceremonies program. Look, gold embossed, but I don't think it's really gold.
if you say in Jesus' name after anything, you could get by with a lot. And so
and here is where the ceremony was, and that was my seat right there. And here is something really pretty. So they give you these medal for attending. Look at that. Look, that was my dress from the inauguration. Ba, 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 ba. Cinderella is now going to the cleaners. They asked me to not do anything that would seem cutting or, you know, mean-spirited or whatever toward Hillary Clinton or toward Bernie Sanders or toward anybody else. But they said I could pick on Donald Trump, which was so funny, which I forgot to do. I had one good joke about his comb over and I totally forgot about it. If the Donald does make it to heaven, Moses will stand there with a comb and part his hair. We're supposed to... Goodbye, Cinderella. You know what this dress is? I wore this to the inauguration. I got it on sale. Everybody had such expensive dresses. Not me. So I put it on my Facebook. I am going to the inaugural ball. I'm so excited. I guess loving Jesus has nothing to do with how much you bash somebody on the internet, because my Lord, did I get the backlash. My manager told me I had lost 1,000 followers that decided to not follow me on my Facebook anymore. But I gained over 20-something thousand. And in this country, we have gotten to a place where we can't discuss anymore. It's all about being disgusted, not discussing. And that's sad. It's just very sad. Isn't it funny? You can have 10 people at the end of the concert tell you how great it was, and you have that one that goes, well, I was offended when you said such and such. And that will ring in your ear, you know, because it gave Satan just a little bit of fuel. I decided to just buy a little place in town in Ashland City. You know, we've got a couple of little grocery stores, we've got 2 traffic lights. But being at a place where people knew you long before the mass of the world knew you. For some reason, there's something extremely comforting to me about that. I'll go to the little pub and have a hamburger and, you know, see my little friends and the waitresses that I know. That's my favorite cup in the whole wide world. That helps. It helps a lot. It's always nice when one of your friends runs a restaurant.
Thank you. I love you very, very much.
I just love them. Plus, I don't cook, so I need these places. Hello.
Hi, baby girl.
Hi. Look at my friends. You look so pretty. Hi, I'm at Vocolo's in Ashland City, Tennessee. There's a little Italian restaurant that I love, the Vocolo's, and Melanie, you know, the owner, has just become such a good friend. And this is Melanie Vocolo. Who also happens to be my best friend.
And I do no cooking, so.
I have my little table, my little regular corner. She knows I'm there because it's a lonely night, probably. And I didn't want to eat by myself at home, you know, so I go around to people. And she, because we're friends, she just knows that. That's my Melanie Vocolo. Now we're going to the funeral home. Johnny Jones, he gave me my first job here in this little town anyway. He texted me before I left for Washington, D.C., or had his daughter do it. He says, I'm embarrassed to ask this, but Daddy says, please bring him something. Oh, look at his old, he got the old one out today. That is so funny. I think for my 60th birthday, I want to borrow that hearse. I think that would be funny. Hello, everyone. Well, I got you a pitiful offering of souvenirs, but I am going to get a couple of pictures made for you to have. It's a scarf to keep you warm.
But I'll tell you what, Shonda, honey, I was never so proud to hear a little girl from Ashland City, Tennessee, was going to participate, to think, knowing what she went through, how she was raised, the things that all the obstacles that she faced in life, and to be able to come and get to the point in life where she was at is simply amazing. I mean, that's
a miracle.
There's very few people could have ever done that. If I was Mormon, you would be my wife.
You're too old for me. Well,
hey, me and Donald's about the same age.
Well, if you had that money, then maybe, okay. Maybe.
yeah.
I'm sorry, but I have such a social calendar here in Ashland City. It's hard to keep up. On Monday nights, I do trivia at Sidelines often. And then Wednesday is trivia at Don Poncho's. And I am on a trivia team with about 5 retired school teachers. What's up, team? And most often,
we're the Attaboys.
The Attaboys win.
The WWE lost one of its legends last week, Jimmy Snuka. What was his nickname? Good luck. If you got this one right, you definitely need to cheer loudly and proudly, by the way, for Jimmy Superfly Snuka. Go Attaboys!
See you later.
Bye, Chonda.
What time you cooking breakfast?
I'm not cooking breakfast. Aren't they a sweet little crowd? I know, I love my friends. Oh, that's the big action of Ashland City.
Boy, you guys really know how to live it up around here.
There's some excitement. I mean, you can only take so much in small intervals. Now the big excitement is they're building a Burger King in Ashland City. I mean, sorry, but it just doesn't get any better than this. Oh, my little Nessa. Yay! She's growing up so fast. She is Nanny's girl. Before she was born, I met her mother, and we walked that little road together and got to know each other, and she needed somebody around in her life at the time.
And I certainly dreamed of having a little one around in my life at the time. I try to ask first. When your whole life's about you and just doing whatever you want to do, you got to stop and go, oh, well, wait a minute. I'm not mom and I'm not really grandmother. You know, I have to know that this is a privilege to be in this child's life, so I need to remember those boundaries and stuff. And I am learning, until they ask for my opinion, to stay out of it. And which is, for control freak, that's a big lesson. Okay, I love you, Ness. Let's take a nap.
No, we're awake.
Oh, we're awake?
Yeah.
It's time to stay awake? I thought it was time to take a nap. I'm exhausted. Some of the aspects of my personality and the characteristics of who I am are great for my job. They're terrible for my personal life, and I have to rethink them and retrain them. I have to walk in a room and not be the life of the party. And there was a time in my life that I thought everybody's going to expect Shonda Pierce to walk into the room. And so I have to walk in the room like Shonda Pierce.
Looking at him. Yes.
I needed this for my identity. You remember those old metal tops as a kid, and it would go up and down? If you pushed it up and down, it would keep spinning up and down. This is exactly how I felt in my career for 20 years. And you just pump that thing up and down. You just keep that career going, and it would spin till it finally spins off and crashes against the wall. And I was so deeply depressed. And then there's that climbing back up out of that dark. I grew up in a church world where if you really need Jesus to love you, then you should read at least 5 chapters today. I need to do at least 4 Bible studies. In other words, you start pumping that top again and doing that spin again, trying to get Jesus to love your God, to notice me. I got 600,000 people on Facebook, that listen to everything I say. I have had so many times in my life that I feel unaccepted. I finally am at the place in my life, I like me. And it doesn't matter what anybody else does.
Our next category is going to be for the documentary features. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here it is. Best documentary feature. And it goes to Shonda Pierce, Laughing in the Dark. Congratulations. What do you have to say to the world right now?
First of all, thank you. Thank you very much. I would give anything if this had been a different movie to have made.
One more round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Best documentary feature right here.
Now throw it up and catch it. Let's get these shoes off. That's what I was saying.
Very good.
My manager called me the other day going, you're not going to believe this. This is exciting. I just submitted your name, and it looks like by the year 20, whatever, blah, blah, you could get a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. What does a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame do, really? Does it bring back your husband? It doesn't change world hunger. It doesn't bring peace to your life.
What is your favorite funny memory from all your tours?
Oh, dear Lord, I have so many. One that's not so funny, I found a dead man in my hotel room one time. I was checking in early, but I got checked in. I was putting my makeup in the bathroom, and I went and sat on the edge of the bed, and it was still dark outside, so I turned the television on. When I leaned over, and there's this lump in the bed. My first thought was, oh, they're going to excommunicate me from the church because I'm in here with somebody else. So I was like, I got to tiptoe out of here so he won't wake up. Somebody won't wake up or find me in a hotel room with some stranger. And then I realized that it was really stiff feet, So I ran into the little housekeeper lady, and I said, would you mind getting that door open? I said, I left my makeup and things because someone is in there. And she goes, no, I've cleaned this room. And I go, well, you may have cleaned it, but you left something in there. So she opens it, and she's like, hello, sir. So finally we went over, and the man was stiff as a board. And she was like, do you know CPR? And I'm like, you had to have a crowbar to pry his mouth open. I said, I don't think CPR is going to help, because his teeth were just hanging out, I know it's sad. It's sad, but he died in his sleep. That's the way to go. So I had to call the front desk, and I said, I asked for stiff sheets, not a stiff Emma sheets. What we have here, just all my favorite things in the world. This is the best picture ever taken of him. His face is just so delighted and full of life, and boy, did he love to fish. This he made. He had carved the day we got married, May the 14th, 1983, and it was our 30th anniversary, so he put May the 14th, 2013. And when you're married 30 years, it's supposed to be pearls, so he bought a pearl and glued it on the end. These are moments when he was alive and happy and good, and I like, looking at him. I don't have room on this wall for Nessa and David, and so you begin to pick and you begin to rearrange, and then you strike an even balance of where he is in here. You gotta find where he fits now. That's part of finding where I fit, Let's us getting a little smooch at Shara's wedding. One year, the kids gave him this for Christmas. This is a star named after him, a Pierce star. It's up in the heavenlies somewhere. That's what's so hard when someone passes away. Every life has things, and it's like, what do you choose or pick to display it? It's like, I just want to make a David museum somewhere so I can have somewhere to put all this stuff, A lifetime of memories with somebody. Gosh, we were so little. I weighed about 80 pounds. 80 pounds in this picture.
What's different now from 2.5 years ago?
I have a gun. I think what's different is just the raw emotion of grief has subsided a little bit. I had that deep, raw ache for a good almost 3 years, and it's only been in the last few months that I really begin to feel the ability to take a deep breath. I really had that feeling of, okay, I think I've turned the corner. I'm relaxed and I'm laughing and it's not forced. And that's what, I used to hate hearing that when I was grieving. Just give yourself some time, and I just want to punch somebody, the next person that says that to me, But it's true. It's true. It takes time. And then it takes faith. I do miss him. I really do. There's some things that I never thought I would miss, but I do. I miss his snoring. That was the thing I thought was going to push me over the edge. But I do. You get used to that, roar of an engine coming through your window. My man could suck the walls through his nostrils. It wasn't so romantic, but you do get used to the noise. It's just that the bed shakes and the walls move, and I can't get to sleep with the quiet now. The quiet is killing me. I bought 3 sound machines and a rootin' pig on one of them. After about 2.5 years, you begin to breathe, and I think you begin to realize they're not coming back. That you either move ahead and move forward or just sit and grieve your life away. All those sweet memories come flooding back, and that's good. And you start looking at the pictures, the good pictures. You start scrapbooking the really sweet times that you had instead of those last few years of just tough alcohol and struggle. And so I think part of that is the relief as well. And so I feel relief. I believe the Bible says God works all things for good. So he'll take even the worst of circumstances, and somehow some good will emerge out of it. I think that's my life. Some good has emerged out of all that pain. And I remember a line in that movie where I said, I don't have to like it, I just have to survive it. And that's true. Now I want to thrive. I don't want to just survive. I want it to mean something. I want to learn from it. I am a totally different person than when we started filming that movie. And I'm so grateful.
Yes. I lost my sister a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And I still struggle with that.
How long has your sister been gone? 3 years. That's not very long. No, for someone you had in your whole life and they're gone and it's just been 3 years, that's a snap of a finger. You are exactly where you should be. That grief is hard, and it is the gift that keeps on giving. That being said, in about 5 years, and still a really tough thing. You're still not sleeping. You're still tossing and turning. You're still, if you're having a nightmare about it, if you still can't function and focus on what it is that you would like to do, if you feel stuck, and you'll know what that is, then that's a sign that your body has gotten so accustomed to the grief that it's seeped into something called depression. And that is when your biological functions just start failing you. And this brain chemistry just starts going topsy-turvy. And that is fixable. And you could go to a doctor. You can get great counseling. Talk therapy is incredible. Journaling is awesome. And sometimes, if it's in a really bad state, medicine is the alternative. And there is no shame in it, and there's nothing wrong with it. This lady told me one time, I don't think you should talk about taking antidepressants. That makes your faith look weak. I said, well, you need to take your glasses off and drive home. I feel very honored to have received their attention or a little accolade or a pat on the back. All those things feel good. But will it devastate me if I don't get that? No. Was there a time that it did? Absolutely. There was a time I felt like I was clawing at life to stay in it. And when you begin to lose everything, it loosens up your hands, and your fingernails just can't claw into anything anymore. That's what I learned the most the hard way of my trauma and my childhood and my marriage and my relationship with my children. I wanted all those people to help me feel like I was enough. And none of them are capable of that. And if they are trying to do that for you, you're driving them crazy. That and you're putting pressure on them. I look back and go, man, the pressure I must have put on my husband for him to feel like I need to help her feel good about her. You know, man, what pressure that probably was on him. I wish I had learned that so that I could have talked to him before he died. We just ran out of time. I watched my husband suffer and slip away into alcoholism, and I cried out to God to get to him, reach him, help him see what it is he's doing to his body. And then when he had his stroke, I thought, oh, he's going to get a second chance of life, and then he'll never drink again, and we're going to live happily ever after. And he died. And so I never saw the miracle until a couple of months ago. And I looked in the mirror, and there it was. I am the miracle. I'm surprised I'm still here. I think the estrangement from my daughter broke something in me. It was devastating, still is, when that very flesh and blood connection to your very being walks away from you and doesn't ever want to talk to you or see you again. That is the ultimate rejection. All rejection outside of that, it ain't nothing. And if she ever sees this, I certainly don't want to hurt her feelings. I have made such peace with that. I've made great peace. Do I still tear up about it? Oh, you better believe it. When it's close to her birthday, or I know my grandchildren are having a birthday, or you know. But when you lose that, all other rejection in your life, every other rejection in your life means very little. So it breaks something in you. Now what's great is God redeems that, and He works all things for good, even that brokenness, He works it for good. It puts it all in perspective.
Shonda, you are enough because you are one of the most kind and gentle and loving and loud and spiritual, and you are my hero. And I've loved you for 40 years, and I'll love you for the next 40 years.
Shonda, I think you are enough. You bring so much love and laughter into people's lives, and you help people push on through problems and see that there is an end and everything's going to be okay.
And I just know that every time I've faced a crisis in my life, I have found solace in the Word of God. And if you live your life based on the feelings, you're in big trouble. So we have a society that teaches us to feel good, that we have the right to feel good. That's not even in the Constitution. If it was, menopause would be illegal. Do you believe the Bible or not? I mean, do you believe it's just a nice book, or, a sweet story? Or do you really, really believe that there was a man who rose from the dead and established reign of the universe and wants to be Lord of your life? Do you really believe that? And if that's true, and if you say you believe that, then you need to study up on that man and who he was. Then we have to live like he would want us to live. And when we do that, it works out. Go figure. When I'm depressed and broken and fallen, then the Bible becomes a blueprint to get back on track. When I am so down on myself and I can't push away the negative thoughts and depression is whispering in my ear so loud and grief has got the best of me, I can open the Word of God and hear whatsoever pure, good, holy. Think on these things. Will you pray with me? Father, thank you for this opportunity. What a wonderful God. What a wonderful place. We've laughed so hard, I got to go change my drawers. You have been so fun to hang out with. I can't imagine what father doesn't love hearing the sound of his kids playing on a playground. And so I pray that you, more than anyone, have been so delighted by this night. I hope you punch my husband every now and then. Look at her down there now. She is just a mess. He'll probably say, oh, yes, I know. I thank you for the good and the bad days. Every one of them have taught me something. Good, bad, or ugly, this is all there is of me. Thank you for loving me unconditionally. Now teach us all to love others the same way. And Father, we will love you eternally, forever and ever, until you take us home to live happily ever after. We will continue to laugh together. In Jesus' name we ask these things. Amen. Thank you for coming. Good night. Know that as a woman I'm all that in a bag of chips, but I know that I am enough to navigate life and anything that comes along because of the blood of Christ, because of what he did on the cross, because I am not able to be righteous, but because of him I am righteous, I am worthy, and I am a daughter of the King of Kings. So I'm enough.
You're enough. I love you.
I love you too.
You're always enough.
I know that. I know
you
that.
guys are both always enough.
I know.
Sometimes you're more than enough.
Oh, shut up. People want to feel, I won't say people. My therapist would say, it's not people, it's you. Okay. I want to feel like I am enough. And the devil is in the business of convincing us that we aren't. Because Jesus died to prove to us we were enough, that we were worth dying for.
The years had left scars
the scars had left pain. How would he recognize me? I wasn't the same. Oh, I knew I should pay, 'cause I knew the price. Oh, 'cause justice and law, it demanded my life. Oh, but his tender heart heard my desperate cry, and he saw my past through merciful eyes. Beautiful, that's how mercy saw me. Though I was broken and so lost, mercy looked past all my faults. The justice of God saw what I had done, but mercy saw me through the sun. Oh, not what I was, but what I could be. That's how mercy saw me.
Whatever you've done,
whatever you have done,
you can't go too far.
You'll never go too far.
That his eyes of mercy, can't see where you are. 'Cause he loves you too much.
You know he loves you so much
to ever leave you alone.
He'll never leave you alone.
You are flesh of his flesh.
You're flesh of his flesh,
and we are bone of his bone. And his heart cries out for your heart today. Oh, see yourself through his eyes, and then you will say,
sin had stolen my dignity and all of my self-esteem. Oh, but I was made brand new again when mercy looked at me.